Hi guys, I'm Glamour Girl Care. Welcome to my first YouTube video of 2016. Mwah. I previously made a couple of videos which was like a boob job vlog diary of me getting my implants, and it's nearly my 3-year anniversary now, so I thought I'd come back and do like an update, tell you how they're doing, what I think, blah blah blah. Anyway, I've seen a lot of questions, but I've been working abroad for 6 months at a time and then coming back to England, and I've recently been on holiday to Thailand, so I haven't had time to focus on internet things. So if you have any questions now and you leave them below, I will be getting back to you because I'm going to be uploading a lot more videos. So first of all, it's 3 years now, and I must admit I've got a very padded bra on, and that's one bit of sort of advice and something I'd say to any girl to take in mind before you have your surgery. After you have them, at first, of course, they feel massive. So after you have them, when you begin to get used to them, you feel like you've got small boobs again. And I know it sounds completely crazy because I went from a 32AA to a 32F, and that's quite a big difference. My surgeon actually thought I was going to be a 32D to double D, but the implant I have, which was 525 cc's of silicone over the muscle, took me to an F, which I was amazed about. But yeah, so I'm very happy. After they settle, they can sometimes bring you up a size. So after you may be a D, and then 4 months down the line, you may suddenly be an E. They can drop and fall into place, and somehow it kind of makes the size go up. I'm not sure exactly how it works. A girl who's going for a boob job, my one main piece of advice would be when you go to your consultation and when you try the implants on in the bra, really try to take into consideration what I've said. I know it sounds mad because you're going to try on any implants and you're going to love the feeling, as I did. And people said to me at the time this piece of advice, and I didn't listen, and now I want bigger. I'd just say, think about, say you want, I don't know, say you'd like a natural, say you're an A and you'd like a natural C, then maybe think about having a D, because once you've got them done, I promise you, a couple of months after you've had them done, they will feel a lot smaller and you may be unhappy. That's all I'm saying, because every girl I know who's had their boobs done has felt exactly the same, whether they've gone to a B, a C, a D, an E, every girl. So it's not just me being crazy, it's honestly a feeling I think quite a lot of girls post-op have. My next piece of advice would be profile. Now you can have low, medium, high, extra high, and that comes to, it's hard to explain, how far the implant comes out from your body as opposed to the width of the implant. Now for me, there's either teardrop or round implants. The teardrop's for more of a natural look, and round is more of sort of the ball glamour look, which I love. So obviously I went for that. Now the lower the profile, the wider the implant is. So the wider the actual implant itself is on your chest. Now sometimes you see girls with very ball spaced out implants, and that will be because they've gone for a higher profile. Now I personally wanted them to be very fake and round and sort of bolted on. That was the look I was going for, so I went for extra high profile, which is as high as you can have them, but unfortunately it means the actual width of the implant's smaller, which means I have to have a bra on for them to have this look. You see where the implants are basically pushed together with the ball look. Because I've had such high profile, it means that without a bra on, they actually sit quite far apart with a gap in the middle. I did take that into consideration when I got them done, and that was something I wanted. At the time, that was the look that I was really going for. Now, if I was to do it again, I think I'd go for a lower profile, because I think it's quite nice when the implants actually sit close together out of a bra or in a bikini, whereas when I have a bikini on, they're quite far apart and round and fake looking, which I do love. I love the fake look, but it's not a look that every girl goes for, and it's also something that going for your first op and consultations, they don't mention to you the fact that they will sit far apart and they will be very ball-like. So I think that's a piece of advice that I would have loved to be told before I had. Now it's time for that dreaded word, stretch marks. Now I know no one wants them, but if you do get them after having your implants, it is very unfortunate But I don't want you to panic, because it happened to me about 3 weeks after having my implants. I started along the sides to get some white stretch marks, and I really started to panic. So I smothered my boobs in baby oil, which isn't any good for my skin. So I was covered in spots and whiteheads all over my boobs, which looked horrendous. And at that point, I started questioning, shall I just let the stretch marks appear? But then I thought, don't be silly, right? I'm going to stick this out. So I oiled and oiled and oiled, and there wasn't really much difference. The stretch marks stayed. Some were darker, some were lighter. Months down the line, I began to notice they were almost fading, like I couldn't see them. And then I went to Spain at the time and I was getting a tan. And I know you're not meant to sunbathe when you've just had your implants done, because it can darken the scars under your boobs. So I would advise putting a plaster over your incisions or lots of sun protection when you first have them done. But as for the stretch marks on my boobs, because I was sunbathing topless, which I don't think you're meant to do after you have them done, but I did it anyway, my stretch marks eventually went, and I now don't have any stretch marks whatsoever, which is amazing considering I thought going from an AA to an F, I was doomed. Now, the main question I always get asked, which I know everyone's thinking, is, will my nipples stretch? Now, the truth is yes. If you go from one size natural boobs to a large implant, of course you're going to have some stretching, but don't panic. It took me 2 to 3 months for my nipples to go back to normal. They are slightly bigger than they were before I had implants, but when I first had them done, my nipples would not go hard, and I was panicking because I love the look of hard nipples. There's no other way to say it. I think every girl prefers that look. So about 2-3 months down the line, I walked into the bathroom one day and the window was open and my nipples just went hard, and it was from that day that they've been normal ever since. So don't panic if at first you feel like you've lost sensation in your nipple, or you'll never be able to breastfeed with children, etc., etc. You should be fine. I can still breastfeed with my implants and I have full sensation. And finally, I'm going to tell you a bit, the most important thing about this whole process, about my surgeon and surgery. Now, I think it's really, really important and crucial in this process to make sure you go with someone who you feel comfortable with, and a surgery which you have really, really researched on. Now, I went with Maya, which is Make Yourself Amazing in London. Absolutely fabulous. I wouldn't go with anyone else personally, because I just think their aftercare, even the consultations, the nurses, the surgeons, I think that they are at the top. They were everything that I wanted, everything that I expected, everything that I needed. They were there. So my surgeon was Mr. Singh, who has now unfortunately retired, and he was amazing. He did so many amazing celebrities and people's implants, and he really is an inspiration. So that's him gone, and I feel like crying because I don't know what I will do if I want to get my boobs done again. But I do have lifetime guarantee on my implants, which they do at Maya. They have natural implants, which are about £1,000 more, but you're insured for life. Now, I know they say every 10 years to get your implants changed, but that's for look rather than what's going on inside your body. They've said that these implants, if there were no hiccups, I could technically keep them in for life and I would be insured and there'd be no problems. But of course, somewhere down the line, I will probably want to change them. So that's what they do offer at Maya. So yes, that was all my advice for now. Research, research, research. Look for the surgeon that can do the look and what's best for you, whether it's natural, fake, difficult scarring. Just search lots on the internet, ask friends, watch YouTube videos, do whatever you can. Anyway, any questions you have, write them below. I will get back to you as soon as possible. Any video suggestions? Thank you guys. Bye. On a completely unrelated note, this is what happens when you give me an Easter egg a week early before Easter. It's now like a week off, and it was customized. It had my name on it, and it was like a big egg with a lovely swirl of chocolates at the bottom. I've eaten all the chocolates, and the only part of the egg that I've managed to keep is the part that has my name on it. The rest of it's gone. So thank you. This was a lovely Thornton's egg, which I have now eaten. The worst thing is, I'm now just thinking like, I might as well just finish it, right?